Greetings, hi, and hello, everyone. My name is Jason Petitfrère. I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, and my life's work is centered around allowing the world to meet the true you by helping you think, speak, and eventually live better than yesterday. We do this first by establishing a good reason why, a strong and powerful motivation to keep going when the going gets rough. Second, we need awareness and acknowledgement of what's holding us back. And third, we need scalable steps forward as a reliable bridge between who we are right now and who we need to be tomorrow and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. This, my friends, is how you go from stuck to thinking as, speaking as, and living as the true you. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This quote by Aristotle popped into my mind when I was reminiscing about a bathroom exhaust vent. Greetings, hi, and hello, everyone. My name is Jason. Thank you so very much for joining me for yet again another episode of the TRU-U podcast. Now, why did I think about a bathroom vent when chewing on a quote by Aristotle? The reason is because currently my wife and I are going through a season of doing a lot of DIY work on our home following a crazy incident with dealing with a ton of mold, which was very detrimental to both of our healths. Mostly hers, though, unfortunately. But more to the point of this actual episode, one of our bathrooms did not have an exhaust vent, and we wanted one installed whilst we were doing all the construction work and reconstruction work on our home. And so I took on that task because although we are not made of money yet, we are still capable human beings. And so with Google and YouTube in one hand and my Ryobi power tools in another, I climbed onto our roof and did what was necessary to be able to install an exhaust vent port. That's essentially the short of all of it. But this was a few days and multiple hours later from the moment of deciding that I was going to do it, because I'd only recently learned a lot about drywalling. I'd only recently learned a lot about, well, not a lot, but the basics of doing electrical work. So getting a proper switch attached and even mounted into our bathroom wall, all of that was an entire process. But I went through all of it, as painstaking as it was at times, rather than just, throwing my hands up and trying to hire somebody to do it for a lot more than I would, because my wife and I's our goal for our home is to maintain, amongst other things, an air of excellence. That translated into this job because not only did I take the time to do it myself, I made sure that according to the videos, according to what I looked up and everything, that we weren't about that, well, at the very least, that I wasn't about to cut a hole in our dang roof only for it to later be leaking. So there were several steps that I had to take in how it was installed underneath a certain layer of shingles, as well as the caulking that was done around the actual vent hood that's poking outside of our roof, or on the top of our roof, essentially. So every little detail that could potentially pose a problem in the future took meticulous consideration and preparation to be able to handle. Now, all of this isn't some sort of, me tooting my own horn about how I'm so detail-oriented. Honestly, if I was that good, I would have done it much faster and, much sooner than I had. This isn't about necessarily the speed and fanciful way that I went about doing it. I'm still someone that, if he doesn't understand something from the beginning, it's very frustrating for me to get into it. But I knew that it had to be done right. So using the proper tools, making sure that I, especially with the hole that was going to go into the ceiling of our bathroom, measure thrice, cut at most twice. The main saying goes measure twice, cut once. And that's just talking about make sure you know what you're doing before you pull the trigger, essentially. But for me, I typically have to measure thrice, meaning I have to measure 1, 2, 3 times to be sure. Because construction isn't something I grew up doing, or handiwork isn't something I grew up doing, and thus I had to learn. And although my work isn't perfection right now, I'm on my way to excellence. But get this isn't even about just installing that vent, or even the lesson that you can learn about doing things the right way the first time by taking as long as it needs. This lesson is really about, or at the very least, a lesson you can learn from all of this is really about why we were putting in that vent in the first place. We did not want a buildup of moisture in that room, in that bathroom with a tub and a shower in it, to then create potentially a buildup of moisture, which is, the happy place for mold to spawn and grow. Didn't want any of that. And so we took the measures necessary, as difficult and as tedious as it was, to install a way for that moisture or for the steam or whatever to be able to be purged from the room. Here's the kicker. Speaking of myself here, I cannot tell you guys how many times I've, after incident, following incident after incident, I finally took a second to sit down with myself and look internally and say, why did I act this way? Why did I say this thing? Why do I feel this way when this person treats me this particular manner? Or why do I think these thoughts anytime I'm in this kind of rut? Well, the answer I came to was buildup. A buildup of negativity, a buildup of exhaustion, a buildup of just complaints, whatever it is. I had not taken the time in the rooms of my heart or my mind to be able to install a way or a habit that would serve as an exhaust vent, that would serve as a tool for purging that buildup over time. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat right now, but he is meowing up a storm. Archie, come here. Come here. You've clearly got buildup, so come on. Yeah, there you go. Okay. You want to say hello to the people? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, all right. Yeah, you can go on my shoulder. Cool. So, I'm not cutting this out. I love you, buddy. Back to the lesson. The moral of the story is, are you taking the time to make sure that the rooms of your mind, that the rooms of your heart are not left unattended, and that you're not just sitting around waiting for the worst case scenario under the guise of just making it, or under the pretense of, oh, I'm just living life, or I'm just barely getting by, and I don't have time to really sit down and just let my tears flow if that's what I need, or really sit down and just write out everything that I'm frustrated about, or just really sit down and, hit the gym and just pump out all of my anger. I don't have time for that. Let me just let it build up and have no exhaust vent or exhaust port for it. And then it's just going to blow up on my friends or my family in the worst way and the worst time possible. No, we don't want that. That is not a proper manifestation of the true you. And this is why we feel guilt afterwards. You're better than that. You're capable of more than that. So why not give yourself the best chance the sharpest tools, the most effective weapons to be able to get the result that you seek. Remember, excellence is not just an act, as Aristotle said. It is a habit. A habit. It's something you build over time. It's systems that you put in place that you do not compromise out of convenience. Can you fall? Can you trip? Can you make a mistake? Sure. But let it be known to the world. Declare to the world through your actions that you take care of you well enough to be able to take care of others. And for my believers out there listening right now, anybody who has an issue with taking care of yourself first, hear what the Word of God says. I can't recall the exact address right now, but one of God's commandments, I heard it said this way: God's first commandment, or one of the first commandments, I suppose. I can't remember the exact order at the moment, but it's to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But then the next one, it says to love your neighbor as yourself. The caveat there is that you cannot truly love someone else or love your neighbor, whoever that neighbor is, whether it's your spouse or your family member or your friend or, a homeless person on the street. You cannot properly love another human being who is your neighbor on this planet if you do not love yourself. And to properly love yourself, you must take care of yourself. You must be vigilant of negative buildup. So find those empty rooms in your mind or in your heart, in your spirit, whatever it is, that have been left unattended with a bunch of crap just building up in there, and install an exhaust vent. And don't just leave it at that. Shut the door and walk away. Make sure you take some time to go back and do regular maintenance checks. For me, that's what therapy is. Unfortunately, my time with my current therapist has come to an end because he's moved on to a different area, I believe. So I'm gonna have to find a new therapist / counselor. But I'm on that journey of looking for one now, because I know how important it is to take care of my mind in that way. You go to the dentist for your teeth, right? You go to church for your spirit, for your soul. You go to the doctor for your physical, for your yearly checkups, or whenever they're done, for your heart. Who do you go to for your brain? Who do you go to that has the clinical or educational credentials for being able to speak to you about how your own brain, how the human brain and body works? Do the maintenance. Make that a habit and become excellent in it. You've got this. I believe in you. And trust me, it is going to pay for itself. You deserve the happiness that this will get you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for investing the time and sticking with me throughout this entire episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And if this was entertaining or educational for you, then absolutely take a second to share it with somebody who needs a word of encouragement, or even just a reminder that they need to also take care of themselves. And that it's not something to do out of a selfish place, but it is because you care for those around you that you want to give them the best that you have to offer. That takes work. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Oh, I typically end with thanks for listening. Hi friends, Jason here. I want to thank you again for your time investment of listening till the end. It seriously means a lot, and I would further appreciate knowing what you think about the show through either the like button or your own comments and DMs about what impacted you the most in this particular episode or in any other. The point is, I don't want you to be shy about taking the step to communicate all that. Lastly, I invite you to stay connected to this life-giving community by following or subscribing on whichever platform you prefer to watch or listen. You'll also find more nuggets of gold sprinkled here and there by looking up @JasonPF_TRU-U on all socials. Again, that's JASONPF_TRU-U. Let's learn to think, speak, and live as our true selves together.